Finding myself a little irritable at the start of this hike. Ended up in the car today for longer than I had planned. The original trail that I was gonna hike, the trailhead was completely full. There was nowhere to park. So called a quick audible and drove to a different trailhead, which was also pretty full. And there's been a lot of people on the trail today. But I was able to get a parking spot going from a long car ride straight to hiking with that shithead. There's a lot of people and a lot of dogs, and he usually doesn't listen very well when that's the case. It's 4 o'clock. I've been at the lake that I'm camping at for at least a half an hour now. There's 2 other groups of 4 people. One of the groups was here before I got here. There's another group of 4 guys. I kind of let them have another campsite. So I actually came over to off trail to the other side of the lake. There's a few spots over here, but none of them are very flat. And also, I'm gonna lose light significantly sooner on this side of the lake. So I think I'm gonna head back to the other side. Now that I'm not completely out of breath, I think that taking the extra time to come all the way back around to the other side of the lake paid off. More secluded over here. I'm not as close to the trail. I feel like you can't see the group of guys. Weren't exactly practicing the best wilderness etiquette. They're being kind of loud, and even though I was kind of far away from them, just the sound that they were making was just carrying straight across to the other side of the lake. Really quiet over here. It was starting to get a little windy over there, so I think I've even got a little bit of wind protection. A little buggy. Probably should have expected that. Did not bring bug spray, so about to put on my buff and put my hood up and get the tent set up. I'm not exactly sure what I'm gonna throw yet. The only thing I see flying around in the air are mosquitoes, and I actually probably need to go put on another layer because they are bad. Well, the wind picked up, the fish stopped rising, so we're gonna get camp set up and then maybe try again. have some new gear that I'm trying out today for the first time, and I also have some gear that might be one of the last times that I use it. 2 weekends ago, the last trip that I did, I didn't sleep very well. I don't really ever remember thinking that I was super uncomfortable every other time I've been backpacking, but for some reason, the last trip, I just felt really uncomfortable. I couldn't, the pillow, it was an inflatable pillow. I never thought it was super comfortable, but I never thought that it was preventing me from getting good sleep. But I think the more that I've been looking into, new pillow is the Nemo pillow. I forget the name of it. The brand is Nemo though. But it has like a little soft topper, and you do still inflate it, so it's still an inflatable pillow. So anyway, so I'm thinking about upgrading to more of a 4-season setup. I want to do some winter backpacking coming up this winter. I have slept in that tent with 2 people and a dog. Most of the time you will hear people say that that tent is too small for 2 people to take backpacking on a consistent basis. You can do it, and it was tight, don't get me wrong. So I don't necessarily think I need to upgrade to anything bigger. If you know how sleeping bags and quilts work, usually the degree rating that they give you is the lower level rating. It's usually not the comfort rating. So a 20-degree quilt is usually going to be comfortable, keep you warm, something closer to like 30 degrees. I'm a pretty warm sleeper, so I have slept in this below freezing. I don't exactly know how cold it was, but it's definitely been below freezing, below 30, probably high 20s. I was perfectly warm, and that was even sleeping in like just a t-shirt. These last couple trips a lot of it has been about using the gear that I already have and thinking through whether it's not going to work, whether it is or isn't going to work for 4-season. One other new piece of gear that I brought with me, kind of an impulse buy, just decided to get a backpacking chair. I have sat at it at home already. I have sat in it at home already, and it is very comfortable. It only weighs like just over 1 pound total, I think. So I also decided to go back to my backpacking pack for this trip instead of my camera bag. After that last trip that I went on, I got home and I kind of started thinking through the necessity for having a backpacking camera pack. And the more that I liked that bag, but it was overkill. And that trip was 2 weeks ago. Over the last 2 weeks, what I've been thinking a lot about is if this is the kind of stuff that I'm going to focus on creating moving forward. I have some exciting stuff planned for this fall and winter, some overseas trips. I have some backpacking trips planned that I want to do, like I said, some winter trips. If this is the kind of stuff that I want to focus on, maybe it makes more sense for me to pare down my camera gear rather than wear this big bulky pack with a bunch of lenses that I don't need. I had actually decided around this time last year that I was going to move to Columbus, where I'm from, and I was going to start doing freelance photography and videography. And I'm not going to say it didn't work out. I kind of chose for it not to work out. I really didn't like being in Ohio. I love being out in places like this. And so I decided to come back to the ranch that I've worked at for the last 8. This is my 8th season now as the head chef, and I'm really glad that I decided to do that because things are kind of changing now, and it looks like I'm going to be staying at the ranch for at least a few more years, and it's going to be a little bit more than just a seasonal job for me moving forward. So long story short, I'm not really focusing on getting paid photography and videography gigs right now. Going back to what I was saying about not having this big, robust camera pack for backpacking, I think the decision that I'm going to make is getting rid of a lot of my camera gear. I have 2 bodies, I have like 6 lenses, and I kind of just started acquiring things that I needed, like as I would get a paying gig. If I needed something for that, I would buy it. But doing mostly outdoor hiking, backpacking, travel type content, I really only need like the trio of zoom lenses. I'm going to modify that a little bit. I'm on a little bit of an every other weekend kind of trip thing. So part of my solution for not bringing a camera bag and just going back to my backpacking pack is I have this Hyperlight Mountain Gear camera pod thing. I don't love it. It fits my camera with a big lens on it. But if I put a shotgun mic on the top, you can't zip it closed. So it kind of defeats the purpose a little bit. And then so I only brought one camera body, and I brought the Sony G 20mm f1.8. But since I'm planning on getting either the 16-25 or the 16-35, I've only been filming with it at f2.8 to kind of force myself into that mode moving forward. And then I brought the 24-105 f4. I know a lot of people hear f4 and they think, that's not fast enough, but for hiking stuff, outdoor content, especially when it's bright and sunny, it honestly is perfect. If I am going to make the decision to get rid of one camera body, I do have the iPhone 15 and it films really great, and I have the necessary equipment to sort of make it match up a little bit better to a professional camera body. And I'm shooting, I'm making my own hiking and adventure videos, if you want to call it that, for YouTube. So it's not like it needs to be perfect to begin with. But it's almost 6 o'clock now, and the sun is setting back there behind me. And I think I might try and climb up on that rock and take some photos at sunset. I also need to eat still, and I really would like to try and catch a fish. Forgot to format my cards before I started filming today. So now while my food is cooking, I'm going to sit here and delete like 800 photos so that I can use my camera for the hike out of here tomorrow. The A7 IV has dual card slots. I just formatted the second slot, and now I'll just record to the second slot, and then that first card will still have everything that I recorded from today on it. Not my smartest move ever, but I guess that was a benefit of, also, the first things first, I should have just brought extra memory cards, but that's a benefit of having dual card slots. Uno mas cervezas, dinner time, and then bedtime. I passed like 3 different people on the way to the lake earlier today who had camped here last night and said that they saw a grizzly at the lake today. And I haven't seen it since I've been up here. Usually they don't stick around for too long, but it is kind of like the sobering reality that we're just visitors here and they live here. From the ground and all that shit. Jesus Christ, what the fuck was that? Cub, where you at? Cub, get over here. Like it might start raining a lot more, so time for bed. Yeah. The realities of sharing a tent with a dog is that he pretty much just sleeps wherever he feels like it, and where he feels like sleeping right now is right in the middle of the tent, so I am pressed up against the side. Started raining pretty decent when I was crawling into the tent. It sounds like it stopped for now, being that it's just a one-night trip. Even if it does rain a lot tonight, then I have to hike out of here with a wet tent. It's whatever, it's fine. It's about 8:30, a little after 8:30 now. I think I might look through some of the stuff that I shot today and then maybe listen to an audiobook and probably try to fall asleep soon. Early returns on the new pillow is that it pretty much feels the same as the old one. It's a little after 5:30 now. I'm gonna start getting shit packed up and make some coffee and get ready to get out of here. A little cold and pretty dark still. but I think what I've found with all of the different packs that I've had over the years, what makes a huge difference for me is how and I don't know if it's because I kind of have like a broad shoulders and kind of a big chest, but like, not to brag, but what makes a pack the most comfortable for me, or what makes it really uncomfortable, actually, I should say, is if the shoulder straps are not quite as robust. One thing that I did like about that Shimoda pack, the dedicated like camera backpack, the shoulder straps were actually really comfortable. I kind of had a weird introduction into backpacking in the first place. I had never backpacked before, but I had done a decent amount of hiking my first summer out here. And then I stumbled upon people on YouTube that were posting their long distance trail, like weekly updates. And so I was following along with people who were doing PCT and the CDT. And thru hikers have a little bit of a different goal as far as their pack and their gear. And so I started following along with those people and thought that that's what backpacking was. So instantly I kind of not fell in love with, but thought that like the best way to do backpacking was to get all ultralight gear. And where I do think that makes sense for me, especially moving forward, is having camera gear with me. It makes sense for a lot of the backpacking gear to be geared more toward ultralight. The one thing where I don't think that makes sense is the pack. So having a lot of space savings with ultralight gear, with quilts instead of mummy bags, with sleeping pads that are more geared toward ultralight, that save a little bit of space in the pack. It makes sense to go that route.